Hi, hello, this is Jules the Human here, and welcome to the Jules Matt Anime Hour. I'm one of your hosts, Jules the Human, and today we are talking about Gatchaman Crowds, episode 5 through 8. And already next week, we were talking about it right before this, but next week, we're already done with it. We're already done with the first season. There's a whole nother season, but we're going to give our final thoughts next week, and then we're going to pick another anime that we're going to dive into. But I have not been going on this Gatchaman journey alone with the Matt to my Jules here. Matt Galley, how's it going? How are you doing today?
Doing good. Doing good. We're here to talk about some more Gatchaman.
Bro, I cannot stop saying it. I
It's
changed
so
it to my
catchy.
Discord thingy every single time, and it happens a couple times during these episodes. They hit it, and it automatically puts me in a good mood. I don't know if that's anybody else, but every time I hear it, it's just automatically I'm like, let's go. So we're gonna be talking about episode 5 through 8, like I said, but hit that like button if you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, or if you're watching on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, leave a review. Again, you can watch these on Spotify. You can watch our faces, not just hear our voices. So if you like podcasts that way, you can do it on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. You can listen to it or just watch on my YouTube channel usually. But like I said, we're doing a new anime. We're gonna pick a new anime next week, and if you want to get your anime added to the little chest of anime, we should. What's a name for it? We need to figure out a name. Chest of anime. Some, huh? I don't know. We should think of a name off stream, but there's
The
like a
chest of
mimic.
supreme watching.
Okay, well,
I don't know.
we'll workshop it.
It needs something with some flair. You know what I mean? It can't
Yeah.
yeah.
If y'all have any ideas, let us know. But shout out to everybody in the live chat. We are streaming on Twitch. You could watch these early
The chest of
live
many
on
suggestions.
Test of Many. There we go. Okay. That's on the right track. Something like that. But if you're watching live on Twitch, thank you so much for being here. And you can watch these early if you're watching later. And you can watch these live and get your comments read or talked about, or have your input on. You can do that on Twitch on Thursdays. But we have a lot to go over because we haven't talked about it. I'm really liking this show, and it's coming up to where like I want to get your like general thoughts about these episodes before we go into each episode.
Sure.
But it just puts me in a good mood, and every single time that I've sat down to watch an episode, I watch the entire block of episodes we need to watch. So like I have not last week as well. I have not just watched one episode by itself. I have to binge watch the 4 episodes we're supposed to, and I want to keep going. Like I said, uh this whole like 12 episode thing where it has like a full story and stuff like that, that's what I like. I like when a show is 12 episodes, boom bam, tells the story, does the thing, and then I'm out of there. And I like that sort of stuff, so I always want to binge, but this one just puts me in a good mood. I don't know, what do you think about these 4 episodes before we get into it, Matt?
Well, because it's a 12 episode series, and by the end of this set of episodes we're already at episode 8, it's like to the point where, all right, we're already more than halfway through the series, whatever. So whatever the series is going to start to like kind of aim towards with what it's doing, it's probably going to start to show up pretty quick here. And we get like a solid like 2 episodes of a lot of chaos ensuing, a lot of rapid fire developments with some of the characters we've gotten to know. And it goes from feeling like where I was saying with the last batch of episodes, it starts really fast, but then it kind of gives you a moment to like breathe and pace things out, but then it ramps the pace right back up. And I really enjoy how it's like constantly throwing something at me that is new, even when as I'm going back to like catch a couple screen grabs. There were a couple things that I noticed that put there that you would catch as a rewatch, but you might not catch on initial viewing. And that's really
Okay.
neat that the show would hold up to multiple rewatches, which the our viewer who suggested the show, CZ, um has stated this is the anime that they've viewed the most times.
For sure. Let's get into it because I have a lot of opinions. I'm pretty sure
Mhm.
Matt you do too. But let's get into episode 5, collaboration. Give us a short synopsis of what happened in episode 5. Yeah, let's get started.
Episode 5, I wanna summarize it by saying that Hajime, Sugane, Joe, and Utsutsu, they're all present for a disaster that leaves like a tunnel, a car transport tunnel in a state of needing rescue. The ceiling begins to collapse, and then at some point there's an explosion. And this prompts Hajime to go bird and go gotcha mode and
Uh-huh.
try to
Gotcha mode.
rescuing people. At the same time, Rui is on the scene with crowds with the 100, also assisting with evacuation and such with the tunnel. That's where the episode takes us.
For sure. Um Before that though,
Oh yeah, the conclusion.
there's quite a bit. I don't want to go over the whole conversation between 26
Mhm.
Umida between Umida and Rui, but there's like a huge conversation that makes me think, and I really like what they're bringing to the table, and I want your opinions as well about this whole thing. But like this whole idea of what Rui, who was sort of set up as the bad person. They're in charge of Galax, the
Mhm.
social media network that everybody in the world's on. And it's really kind of highlighting what Rui wants to happen and what they mean by updating the world.
Yes.
And Umida is kind of challenging them, like, because where do I even start? It's like such a big concept
Yeah,
about it.
it's a whole clash of idealisms that kind of happens where, like you said, we get to see Rui put everything on display full force as to like why they're doing what they're doing, what they set out to do, and the expectations behind it. And they're pretty much being called out for being an idealist, pretty much. Like,
Yeah,
what are you talking about? What, when, and what type of a world would that make sense?
and
Type
they're
beat.
having this sort of face off. Ubida and Ubida comes back in the coming episodes. But like, what do you think about Rui's idea? Basically, what Rui's saying, I created Galax and I want these hundreds of crowds to update the world with no heroes, no leaders, and that this whole world is built on reputation. The whole world is built on getting good feedback, positive feedback, and like doing things to up your social status or up be seen as a good person. And Rui's trying to get rid of all this.
Mhm. Rui has a state of mind that people should help other people out of their good conscience,
Yeah.
and not through any sense of expectation of receiving something in return, like praise or
And
like a title or like something like that. Anything that somebody could gain physically or not out of helping other people. That whole aspect of it, Rui wants to kind of be removed, because everybody should be helping each other, and nobody should be at the same time that nobody should be kind of like helping. Nobody should be expecting
yeah,
help like in the sense of in an entitled way. Like,
because the whole idea of the Galax social media is like having people around you help out. Like
mhm,
whenever something bad happens, it pings all everybody's phones and it's like, "Hey, you're a doctor. This thing's happening over here. Go help." And it's like a mentality of everybody helping each other, which is cool. But like, where does Rui have get this idea? that this is possible. Like this is okay. And like where did you get this idea that there should be no heroes, that people need to change and we need to update and get better? I'm not saying I'm not against it. Like that sounds great. But is it even possible? That sounds like impossible.
That's pretty much where the conversation like lies at its core, is Rui stating what their expectations for this world that they want to update to. Um, but at the same time, people like 26 are calling them out, and calling them a idealist. Meanwhile, you have Berg kind of still terrorizing Rui over the fact that you can't really save everybody type deal. Meanwhile, Rui's kind of like obsessing about the analytics and stuff behind everything, as we saw in the episodes before, but there continues to be accidents where, there are either injuries, casualties, what have you not. And Berg keeps kind of like pressing them like, hey, if you want to be able to stop all those things, you got to use the crowds, you got to use that power, that good old power that I gave you.
Yeah, I still don't even know why Rui doesn't want to use the power, or doesn't want to use crowds. Is it because it's not theirs? Because Rui's like, it's not my power. I don't want to use it. Like they just kept saying, like, no, the crowds can't be used. Or is it because the 100 are like trying to overthrow it? Because there's 100 crowds, which are these big old eyeball looking guys, and they're people playing a video game in a VR headset, and they're launched to go help out the world sometimes, whenever it's really needed. And it's like, uh, is it because is Rui saying like no because they don't want these 100 to get a big head, because we've seen these other 100 people are like, "Yo, what the fuck are we doing? Like, why are we doing this? And we need to do this for attention and praise," like kind of what Rui's against. Like, we need to be a these crowds things, because we want fame or fortune or whatever. So like, is it because Rui doesn't want to bring out the crowds anymore because they don't want them to get more corrupted? Like, is that why? Like, what? It's just
That's a
kind of
good that is
wild.
that's a good question, and I wasn't thinking about it that way. I do know that in like an episode or two, we get to see Rui and Sugane kind of have a one-on-one discussion, and I believe Rui mentions like something along the lines of knowing that Berg's intentions were evil, but maybe somehow they could like uh kind of uh, beat around the bush and still be able to come out, winning the fiddle contest against the devil, so to speak. I
True.
think I can pull it off and use this power in a good way.
Yeah. So they're everybody's the Gotchamen go out to the tunnel, or they're there already. Uh we have Utsutsu's little frog red origami. I love Utsutsu. She's so cute.
And
I love her.
this was actually the shot that I went back and pulled because it happens for just a moment,
Oh yeah,
but if you
because
miss it, it doesn't even matter that there's a scene that it calls back to later in the show.
I missed it. Yeah,
Yeah, I
I didn't
missed it
even see it.
initially too, but I was going
Uh,
back to grab stuff and I was like,
but it comes up. Yeah, yeah.
"The
The Leo point.
and
But
you get to see her like hold it up, and she's holding it for just a second, and she
she's
looks
so
over.
happy.
Yeah, and she looks over, and Hajime's looking at her, and not really thinking anything of it, but she gets really like flustered, and starts blushing red in the face, and Hajime just like waves like, "Oh, hello," but she's like, "Oh, she saw my origami, no."
Yeah. So they're there, the Gotchamen are there, and Hajime is just like, we need to help them.
Mhm.
But Sugane is like, don't change into your Gotchaman form. And
And I'm pretty sure the reason he was pressed over that was because he tried to activate amnesia effect, but he was like, "Oh, it's already activated."
yeah,
And so at that point he knew there's somebody else here that has a note that we don't know about, because him and Joe are both like, "Well, who activated it?"
yeah.
So he's on this whole thing like, "Don't go Gotchman because we don't know whose eyes are on us right now." That was his big deal.
And the
And it
eyes,
wasn't because, like, he just is like, "Don't help people."
yeah. The eyes of Rui were watching, and they
Exactly.
saw them turn. They saw Hajime turn, and that's kind of where it leads off. It was just like, "Hey, you saw my face, you saw me transform like the Power Rangers, and here we are." So let's get into episode
Well,
6, originality.
sorry.
No, no, go,
She
go for it.
she revealed herself as a Gotchman, like the Gotchman is here, but she hadn't revealed her face yet. Rui didn't see them before the transformation. She transformed and then dashed through the whole cloud of smoke. And then Rui saw as she was coming to the other side. But as episode 6 starts,
Yeah,
she's like, "Oh, hey, nice to meet you." Pulls her helmet off, and that's when
yes.
she reveals her face.
So yeah, Hajime reveals her face, and then what happens in originality,
In
episode
originality,
6?
yeah. So yeah, Hajime reveals her face. Rui takes off the other way. Like she's like, or Rui's just kind of like, I'm out of here. So Rui takes off. Hajime's kind of just standing there. She's like, well, nice to meet you anyways. Amnesia effect at that point, I think, like goes out, and sure enough, there's just like cameras in this tunnel
Yeah.
that all capture Hajime's face. And so that footage gets leaked nationally, and basically a huge uproar, a huge frenzy starts to happen as everybody's like, "Oh my god, gotcha men are real. Oh my god, look, it's the gotcha man. Oh my god." Um Hajime is trying to go about her business in public with Utsutsu and who and I'm forgetting his name,
Joe?
Sugane.
Oh,
Uh,
Sugane.
Sugane,
Yeah.
yeah. And basically, a bunch of paparazzi start to swarm them, and Rui is able to pick up on this and calls on some of her hundred to like chase off the paparazzi at the same time that she guides that they guide that Rui guides all of them to a meeting point where Rui is basically introducing themselves as somebody under the name Load, Load, under that
Mhm.
persona. And then we get to see um Rui Rui's ideology put to the test against both Sugane and Hajime's uh like thoughts, ideology. They get asked to stop being gotchamen for the sake of what world Rui is chasing after, and they both deny for different reasons. Um, how did
So
you feel about this episode? How did you
Gatchaman
think
get
about the whole
exposed.
the whole shenanigans with oh, wait here for 5 seconds and there's going to be another
Bro,
person.
I love that part. I got super I think I wrote it somewhere else too. No, no, no. Okay, for this episode, I definitely got like Fight Club vibes because of all the different people from all walks of life, but they all are part of this thing. Like the 100 feel like a Fight Club. Like the Fight Club movie or whatever, you've seen it. But it's like they're everybody. They're random people. They're just whoever, and they were just kind of helping her, helping Hajime and Utsutsu just get to this place. And I was like, "Yo, this is pretty cool." This is kind of they take a lot of time too to
That's what
show
I
that,
mean.
kind of like with the milk crisis.
Yeah,
And they take a lot of time of the episode where it's like, okay, I get it, but then it's like, okay, this is down to a T. Like this is wait 5 seconds, this guy's gonna come pick you up and we're gonna go here. This whole floor is rented out, whatever, whatever. And it's like, okay, so it's really showing like this
the
is the thing,
connections.
like how the connections, the power, kind of like showing the mafia, like if you had like a mafia movie, like showing them making calls and all that stuff. This feels like that. They're very Fight Club vibes where it's everybody, it's whoever's a part of the 100 here. But like this felt like with Hajime on the billboard, this felt like Spider-Man as well.
Yes.
Like the newest
Oh my
Spider-Man
god. Yeah.
spoiler when Peter Parker is just like, this is the guy, and it's like, whoa, so like all this mass uh craziness gets exposed to the world. Because Gatchamen are real, one, Gatchamen are real, and two, we have somebody and some people know this person. So a lot of people
Exactly.
know who
So
Hajime.
yeah, it shows a shot of some people like, "Oh, that's literally Hajime."
Yeah,
Like
her friends from school. It's like, oh, what? That's crazy. Um, so again, I want to talk about more of the like the Rui's idea, because they have
Mhm,
to really like put their ideology, and they have to present it to us very quickly because we're only 12 episodes, right?
mhm.
So like in episode 5 and episode 6, like it's kind of doubling down, but putting a lot of time on like what they really want, getting rid of the Gatchaman. Like, hey, they're meeting here. Like, hey, I just wanted to talk to y'all. I kind of want y'all to stop.
Mhm.
And why? So people can't rely on them and have a world powered by the everyman. Again, putting that ideology of like, we want everybody to be the same so that nobody's a hero, nobody's has power. And it's like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? It's so wild. I don't know. How do you feel about like Rui taking this route? Because for now, Rui has the crowds, Rui has power, Rui has Galax, which is going to change in a couple episodes. But uh, right now, they have all the power. They have the power. We had the flex of the power of like, oh, I could have my 100 do whatever. Like my 100 brought you here in a wild way. I have all this power. I want you to stop. And like, what? How could you? How does Rui even have the, I don't know, the gall to even ask that? It's so
Yes,
wild.
after realizing that they're real.
Yeah.
Um, it's like if the tooth fairy suddenly, appeared in front of you and you're just like, "Hey, tooth fairy, what you're doing, it's great and all, but I'm gonna need you to stop giving kids money for their
Yeah.
teeth."
It
Like,
it's so
just,
weird.
um, I mean, if anything, it shows how much commitment they have to this idea. It shows their resolve in being able to get them to this place to have this meeting and then to ask them a question like that. Um, I I don't remember all the words that Rui used, but even Sugane, who we know is a very by the books straight up guy, as we can gather from all the other characters as they describe him from the past. Even he kind of like gives pause for a moment and is like, "Wait, you might be onto something there." Like, and when Rui asks like them to stop, it's really Hajime is the one that pipes up first and is like, "I'm not gonna stop."
Yeah.
But Sugane is a lot more kind of like mixed in his response. He's just like I don't even think I don't think he gives a direct actual answer. He kind of gives it more like a comment, um, showing that like he's thinking about it. Um,
Yeah,
Ah, it's a lot. It's a lot that's like you said, it's a lot that's happening in a short time,
there's
especially they should have probably played down the getting to this meeting part and then kind of expanded a bit more upon the meeting with just Hajime and um Rui initially, because Sugane doesn't get there until a little later. He kind of bursts into the
yeah.
meeting a little bit after the fact.
There's also still all these questions about like, what are the Gatchamen even doing? Like, what are they doing? Why are they doing this? Nobody asked questions, and now uh Hajime is here and she's asking questions, and it's making other people in the Gatchaman ask questions and start thinking a little bit more in depthly. Like, why are we doing this? Because we're supposed to? Because it's called upon us? And it's like, what are we doing this for? And even like there's questions of that. Like, should they even be there? Like, yeah, Rui wants to get rid of us, but like, what are we doing? Like, should we even?
Mhm.
There's a lot of questions here. Let's get into episode 7, Abjection. We are
Yes.
talking about Gatchaman Crowds. That's the anime show that we're watching currently. We're talking about episode 5 through 8. Next week is our final episode for Gatchaman Crowds. Then we're going to be picking a new anime. So if you want to get an anime in the treasure chest box of dreams or whatever, uh, 500 bits is how you do it, and we could possibly pick your anime next. But episode 7, Objection, Abjection. Give us a little note on what happens there.
Yes. In this episode, we see Rui confront Berg, using the crowds, using the 100, and then we also get to see Joe have a confrontation with Berg as well, and it leads down to Hajime kind of having a bit of a conversation with Berg, the most anybody has ever talked at Berg, I think, that we've seen in the series so
Hmm.
far. Um, and Berg leaves Hajime with a riddle.
Yeah, so we have this confrontation, and it's kind of made a little bit more clear about what the crowds are. At least this was for me. Like I didn't,
I agree.
I didn't really have a full idea of what the crowds were, but crowds are the human consciousness made real. That's like a quote about what they said. Like the crowds are the human consciousness made real, and we have this. This was the start of the battle, right? This episode was the start of the battle, or was this the next one?
I'm sorry. This was where we get to see the battle between Rui and Berg, Joe and Berg, and then Hajime gets to chat with Berg.
Okay. Oh, okay,
It's,
okay. This
this is the episode. I feel like this
where it
is
all
just
kicks off.
the Berg show
Berg
for
show. We
this
get a
episode.
Yeah, we get a lot of Berg talk here, but like, we also saw uh Rui confront Berg with all the crowds, and
Mhm.
then we saw Berg just pull out the note, and it's like goes crazy, goes Gatchaman style, and
Go
essentially
Bird.
essentially puts almost 100 people into the hospital, and we see like
Is that what
the
happened? Are they in the hospital? I
that's what
hope
they
they're in
said?
the hospital. Okay,
Oh,
I'm sorry. I
really?
must have missed it.
Oh, no, because at the end of episode 8, they're like, "Daddy's in the hospital." I thought that's what you meant. Yeah, the
I
little
was like,
girl.
what does that
Yeah, the
mean?
little
I
girl was like,
was
"Daddy's in the hospital." It's because he was part of the
He was
100.
using Galax.
Yeah.
Oh my
So I think
god,
some of them are
that
killed
went over my
probably.
head.
Yeah, it goes really quickly.
Yeah,
But
sorry to interrupt.
no, 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 yeah, so we see them using the VR crowds, and then they fall and stuff. So, like, a lot of the all these crowds, I love that they're not showing their faces, because it's like it feels like it could be anybody, again, bringing that Fight Club vibe where it's like, "Oh, this could be anybody. These are the everyman," and seeing them just drop in so many different places, and they even said, in the next episode, they're from 8 years old to 60 years old.
That's
So there's like
insane.
an 8-year-old person in the crowd in the using the crowds as one of the 100, which is kinda wild. Um, but the crowds, we get some more information about the crowds, and we have this Joe Berg fight, and it's not like
Dude,
a
Berg
usual
goes straight after his, like, psyche.
goes after Joe's soul, and, like,
Because Berg comes
speaking
out, like, with I really like their fight between Berg and, Joe because, like, Joe tells Sugane, like, I told you I was gonna see this guy again and I was gonna kick his ass. And Joe completely gets floored. Like he's doing all of these like attacks. He's calling out his moves shonen-esque. Oh, fire flash, fire feather, flame bomb, and Berg is like, fire flash, fire flash. Like
yeah.
he's taunting him the whole time. And the whole time, Joe's attacks like have absolutely no effect. And so he and the whole time Joe can't really even see whatever form that he's getting attacked from, and he's finally like, show yourself, and Berg does and assumes Joe's form, gets into his head, gets into like his suit with him, and starts like
Bro, it's kind
basically
of erotic. I was like,
yeah.
"Whoa, what's
But
happening
he
here?"
basically starts calling out this guy's like, insecurities right out into his
Yeah,
ear, weakens his will to fight to the point he just collapses to the ground at that point.
and he's
Berg
bloodied?
Well,
I was
because,
like,
at that point, Berg rips out
"Oh, the
his
note,
note.
right?"
Yeah, which is supposed to be, like, somebody's, like, soul,
Yeah,
manifested or whatever.
yeah,
So he disconnects that from his Gatchaman, and then that leaves him, like, bloodied and beaten on the ground. And it's not till, Utsutsu comes to his aid that, I'm even in a state of thinking he's still alive. I was like, oh, he just died. I was like, there he goes. There goes
Rip.
Joe.
Okay, so during this whole episode, I don't I because it's a 12 episode arc or a 12 episode season, I have felt like everything, and I feel like somebody's gonna die. In every episode that something happens, I'm like, "Oh no, who's gonna die?" Because I don't know why, I just feel like something's gonna happen. And then when that happened to Joe, I was like, "Oh, he's dead." I was like, "Oh no, this is it." Like, I don't I like it feels like real stakes are happening, and like any one of the Gotchamen can die, and that's kind of scary, like
Well,
watching it.
the only person that's I think killed other people is Berg. So when I'm
And
saying
OD
the
probably.
so far in the series that we've seen, I guess.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so far we've
Um
seen. They've
so
alluded to other stuff.
yeah. So me seeing the only person that's killed other people rip out the dude's spiritual core from his thing and then seeing like what looks like a lifeless body bloodied afterwards. I'm like, yeah, he just died.
Rip.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah. Which I like you said, because it's 12 episode season, I was like mentally like, okay, yeah, that just happened. Like, and it even before that happened, I'm pretty sure we get to see a little tidbit of like Joe rescuing Sugane from something when he was a kid. And so that
What is
alludes to
that?
like, yeah, that's what I mean. So like it alludes to them having like a long history with each other. And so at that point I was like, oh, okay, they're ready to call it curtains for him.
I love the connections because we in these 4 episodes, we see a lot more connections as well, and I just love I haven't said this enough, how much I'm enjoying this show. I'm really enjoying it because I want them to just hang out. Like when they were in the bus, like with this whole thing in the bus with the collage crew, like
Yes.
they're just hanging out. I want to see them all hang out. We get some connections here, like you said, Sugane and Joe, they have some long history somehow. OD and Paimon, they have a lot of connections somehow. Utsutsu as well. They have that little group there. Um, and then we see like uh OD push Utsutsu to go and hang out with Hajime, where
And
OD's like, go ask Hajime for scissors, and then Utsutsu's like, can you fix my frog? And then Hajime's like, can I fix your frog?
Shit, the way her hand was
That was
animated,
kinda weird. Yeah,
it
that was
was like
really
it
weird.
was so scrunkly. It was like gimme, come here.
Gimme. Yeah.
I'll origami with you all day. Come here,
Yeah.
get over here. It
Frogs are
was
supposed to
so
be green. Let's
funny.
go get some green paper.
Yeah, and she was like, well, the first of all, aren't frogs green? And then it was like, well, some are red.
Yeah. I
She's not wrong.
love Utsutsu coming I love that little arc. It's like a
Uh,
little arc where Utsutsu's coming out of their shell, and she's just, like, being a human. Like, I don't know what Utsutsu is. Utsutsu has powers. Utsutsu has healing powers. I don't know. And
Well,
it's like
she said, I think she said it in the last episodes, like she can heal others, but when she does it, it takes life from her,
yeah,
or the
yeah.
reverse, something like that,
But if
or
someone
anime
asked me to make
universe.
origami frogs with them, I'd make the same hand gesture. Get over here.
Um, and then
Yeah,
I like that and again that calls the uh the frog in the last episode, it calls back to the her having the origami and asking Hajime, and then yeah, at the end of this episode, um after Hajime like chats with Berg, because that too we haven't even talked about it. Like Hajime starts to throw all these questions at Berg, and Berg's all giving all these responses and all these questions and the like, and
bro. Fuck Berg and fuck JJ with their fucking
cryptic.
riddles. Just
Yeah.
say some shit, bro. Where's JJ? Fucking mod check? JJ, where
JJ
are you,
check.
dude? Come on. In
Yeah,
in
we
like
even
episode 5, he released like one thing, and then I'm like, where are you, bro?
we see that in the observe whatever their room is with JJ, that like the flaming bird is like firing off and shit, and everybody's like, oh my god, that means Joe's fighting, like we need to go help Joe, and
That
Paimon's
means
like,
Joe's dead.
all right, we need to go help Joe, like go bird, and we get to see Paimon's
We
transformation.
we haven't talked about it. I have it in all caps right here with a bunch of A's. Paimon goes gotcha man. I have
Yeah.
it all caps in my notes, bro.
And Paimon basically goes, "All right, everybody, we're gonna go save the world. Let's go." And then halfway there is like, "All right, everybody, I forgot. I'm a little scaredy boy,"
Yeah.
and kicks them out and runs the other direction.
Bro,
Like,
how are you
what?
gonna Tokyo drift all cool in your gotcha man? Okay, Paimon, I did not expect Paimon to get a gotcha man. And when we see it in the opening, we've seen that car before.
Yeah,
Oh no, we saw yeah, it was a
we
little
see it in the
like
opening.
yeah, we see it in the opening, and I'm like, okay, I don't know whose that is. I was like, okay, whatever, that's somebody's, and we're gonna find out. I did not expect the last thing I expected was it to be Paimon's fucking gotcha man mode, and it's just just huge. I was like, yo, this is so cool. The animation with their gotcha man modes is so dope.
It is.
I'm enjoying it so much because it's just gold. It's like Neo, like lights, RGB, and I'm like, yo, and then Pieman just going and then just being like, wait a minute, no, I'm good.
He's like, "Wait a second. What am I doing
It's
again?"
it's so good. Let's get into episode 8, because we have one more episode. Episode 8, Genuine. Give us a little bit about what is going on here.
So we in episode 8 get to see Hajime basically have this huge concept that, like, post having conversation with Berg and kind of un- and starting to ponder Berg's intentions and stuff, Hajime decides that it would be a good response to do a PR campaign for the Gotchmen and just like and for everybody to just like reveal their forms and like show that, hey world, there are Gotchmen here. Um so one of her one of the people in her like a collaging crew is doing this thing at like a preschool, so she got an easy hookup to like go to preschool to do a PR opening meet and greet for the Gotchamen of sorts, and she informed the press to be there, so there's cameras there and everything. And at the same time that this is happening, uh we see that Berg takes the form of Rui and starts to cause mischief because at the same time that Berg is assuming Rui's identity, they have also taken X, the supercomputer from Rui. So Rui is cut off from X and Galax at the moment. Berg, assuming Rui, meets up with Umida, number 26, that we talked about before,
Mhm.
and basically feeds him a pile of lies to set up some sort of a machination that they have in plan.
Um, bro, I I gotta say it again. I'm loving the show. I'm really enjoying it because all the chaos from last episode, the fight, I love that it's not a traditional fight. We don't get to see them actually like come to blows. I haven't seen anybody exchange hands really. It's all sort of like this ethereal mind fuck of like we're fighting with our mind, with our brain, because like in the last episode, like we saw the psyche attack that Berg did on Joe. It's like, whoa, that's like next level. He's attacking like his thoughts and his ideas. And I'm like, we're fighting metaphorically. And I'm like, that's so cool. And then to just have a fucking like Paimon hanging out with little kids, you know what I mean? And they're just messing with them. And to have a whole fucking campaign at a preschool where they're like, "Hi guys, we're the Gatchaman. Do you have any questions? Let's talk to the kids and make them happy and make them smile." And it's all Hajime's sort of sort of idea, and it's like, what's going on? What is this? What is this? It's so many different things. Um, I'm really enjoying it, but it was really fun. This episode was a lot of fun to to counteract what was going on in last episode, but um I did not call. Again, this is something I love when a show doesn't or I don't expect what's going to happen because I knew Berg has the power to change into people and to cause mischief and to make it seem like they did the other person did the mischief. Like
Yeah.
I'm looking like Matt Galley, and I'm gonna go pull out all the books at the library, and then I'm gonna be gone and go invisible, and
And
then
everybody
Matt's
saw
gonna get in.
Matt doing it.
Yeah, Matt's gonna get in trouble, but
Yeah.
it's worse because Berg is killing people.
Yeah.
Um, but like I knew that Berg had that power. I didn't even think that Berg was gonna turn into Rui and completely take away Rui's power. Rui is powerless now. We saw the culmination in episode 6, the culmination of Rui's power with all of the 100, taking a couple minutes like, okay, this is we're going to take you here, we're going to do this, all this stuff, like showing the power of
The
Galax,
capabilities,
the
yeah.
100 that Rui was capable of. And then because fake Rui logged in and looks like Rui, Berg changes their face and looks like Rui now and took over the supercomputer X. Now Rui has nothing. And I was like, I did not think that was I didn't even think of that.
And
And
it's
I
so
love that.
silly when Berg is sitting there with X, like, "Hey, what do you think the odds are that Rui's gonna go over to that preschool event?" And the computer's just like, "Uh, what?" Like, You're Rui. Are you gonna go?" Like, they just ask. And I liked
It's
that little bit because it shows that, like, the computer itself is just not clued in as to what's going on at
yeah.
all. It is just, artificial intelligence.
Yeah. So you did mention Umida possibly
Mhm.
working with Berg trying
Yes.
to get into the mind of Umida, possibly leading the Neo
The Neo
100,
100, yeah.
the Neo 100. So that's like another little storyline that we're gonna see. And I'm like, oh, is Umida gonna go bad? Because like Berg is kind of telling Umida all that he wants to hear. Like,
Mhm.
bro, you could be a hero. Like you could be the guy. You can be the guy that leads the Neo
Everybody could be
100.
the guy.
Yeah. And kind of telling him all he needs to hear. And it's like, oh, Berg might find like a little pawn in Umida. But all this stuff with like the Hajime announcement that
Yeah,
there's gonna be a crisis.
Hajime's basically like, "Hey, everybody, we're superheroes. We fight aliens all the time. We're here to tell you that basically there's a really weird alien that's gonna like be here and cause some sort of a super crazy crisis. So everybody needs to be really careful." And they're like, "Well, what do you mean be careful?" And she's like, "I don't know."
Yeah. She does this. Yeah.
I I love how she's just doing this the whole time. She's talking all of the super serious stuff. It's so funny. I couldn't help but laugh.
And then she's saying like, Rui, if Rui, you're seeing this, come over here. We need you. Let's team up somehow. But like all of this, and then fake Rui, Berg, sees this as well. Like all of these little chess moves. Granted, Hajime is doing it really oddly because she's like really nice and doing all these crazy things. All these little chess moves felt like Death Note to me as well. Like I'm getting all these little hints of other stuff, which is really cool.
Mhm.
This felt like Death Note whenever like they were seeing stuff on the news and they're like, "Oh, we got to do this pawn move. We got to do this to counteract that." This felt like that without them actually going to each other. Like this felt like, "Oh, we're seeing this. Okay, what's this move? What are we going to do here?" And it's like really cool. I'm really enjoying all that.
And when that's happening, there's also this layer of what prompts it? I forgot what Sugane says during the event, but Sugane and OD are like on the side, kind of like observing everything going on, and OD makes a comment um, that maybe Berg is just like more like a child, where it's just kind of like this unfiltered, chaotic mayhem that's kind of just whipping through them. And then OD's like, "Oh, well, don't listen to me. I'm
What do
sorry.
you
I'm being silly."
what do you think that was? I
We
mean,
know that
OD knows.
yeah, OD knows. We know that OD and Paimon have had an encounter with Berg before, but Sugane, I don't believe, is aware of that. So
Oh,
Sugane, because
I
when
thought they
we the
mentioned it
audience
together. No.
get that,
Oh,
it's with just OD and Paimon.
true.
So Sugane, I'm pretty sure, doesn't have any like idea that OD or Paimon would know who Berg is, what's going on with this guy.
Sugane, Josan, Hajime, humans,
Yes.
and Rui, humans.
Yes.
Utsutsu,
OD
OD,
and Paimon and Berg.
Paimon, Berg are something else. OD has said that they're half human. What does that even mean?
And we know that that OD's planet got destroyed by Berg,
And
and Berg
Paimon,
killed Paimon's best friend.
Berg killed Paimon's best friend. Paimon is like something else, but he chooses the little panda
The
form.
panda form, yeah.
Bro,
But
this
he hates
this still
pandas.
is the cutest. This is the cutest fucking. I love this. I love Paimon. This is the
um
greatest character. Hajime also greatest character.
and then we see at the end of the episode, we're left with Umida getting off the phone, greeted by his daughter, like, "Are you going to work?" And he's like, "No." Wait.
I don't know if it's the same little girl. I was confused on that
Correct.
too.
No, that's during the preschool event. I'm pretty sure at the preschool event, somebody like one of the little kids asked somebody if they could help them write grave. It's like, why would you need to write grave? It's like, oh well, my dad might die soon. Oh,
What?
why? Because he's in the
Huh?
hospital. Why was he in the hospital? Oh, he was using Galax and then he fell.
What? So yeah, he was part of
And
the
then the
100.
episode just ends.
Yeah.
And then
And
back to the cheery like end like poppy
boo, boo,
music.
boo, boo. Yeah.
Maybe just saw some people, whatever. Yeah.
We are going to be watching episode 9 through 12 next week. We're going to be talking about 9 through 12 next week. And we're going to give our final rating and we're going to move on to another anime. And I'm going to tell you right now, I am enjoying this a whole lot. I love the animation. It's really good and it's going to be pretty high. It's going to be pretty high for me. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to give it away. But if they stick the landing on this anime, bro, my mind's going to be blown.
Yes, right there. Yeah. Oh, I felt
So he says very much
it was
gave Rui a reality check.
Rui finally got to the preschool event after being called upon by Hajime, and then a kid asked Rui to help with that. And then
Yeah, like,
Rui
oh,
was
I
like,
fucked
"Oh,
up.
that's my fault."
That's my fault that your dad is possibly gonna die or whatever. So it's like, but Rui doesn't have any power right now.
Nope.
Rui doesn't have a note.
But
Rui
that's the
doesn't have
thing
the
is that
crowds.
now that Rui has fallen so far from where they came, just like somebody's cyberpunk character, they now they get to see they get to now kind of like see the effects of their choices while they had said power, because with great power comes great responsibility, right? And so now all the choices that they made with deciding to try to use crowds against Berg, deciding to X 26 and the people that were his friends and stuff like that, that's all going to start to come around in full circle. And that's my prediction for the next set of episodes, is that we're going to start to see the fallout of that. Do you have any predictions in specific for the next batch of episodes?
I want this to go. I want this to be like a curve, a bell curve or whatever. Not a bell. Yeah, I guess a bell curve is the first part. I want it to just incline insanely because a lot of my favorites, uh, Madoka Magica, Kill la Kill, um, fucking Darling in the Franks. A lot of these shows are here for a while, and then it's like by the end, it's like earth-shattering, worlds colliding, fucking craziness that I'm like, "Whoa," like, I fully want this. What I want, and for it to be perfect, I want the earth to almost explode or some shit. Like, I want Berg to, like, super punch through the fucking core, but then JJ rewinds time or something. I want something like, I want something insane to happen because, like, I like when they do that, where it's just like, right now, we're at episode 8, and I want us to just by the end just be completely mind blown by how far we went in these 4 episodes, because I love when anime does that. It's so good. So I'm fully expecting to see, in my mind's eye, I just see the earth like exploding like that. And I want that for the next episodes.
I love, like, oh my god, superheroes are real, the Gatchamen are real, like there's aliens, planets in crisis, and somebody like in one of the crowds is shown to just be like, oh, so is the world gonna finally end? Like he's
Yeah,
standing
that
there
guy.
laughing about it
Yeah,
because
he was like, huh.
that's how some people would feel.
Why
I
were they
mean,
sweat? I remember that specifically because the two guys that were talking, they were sweating for some reason. They were in like in like business
business clothing,
cash,
yeah.
and then they're like wiping their forehead. I'm like, why are you sweating? You're
Oh,
outside.
maybe I missed that. Maybe they were actually
They
worried,
were.
but the way they played it off is just like, ah,
Yeah. I
aliens.
I want it to go insane. I really want this to stick the landing, and I'm saying I'm really enjoying it. I don't know if you're enjoying it as much as I am, Matt. I
I'm
don't know how
enjoying it a
you
lot.
feel. Yeah,
Yeah. I'm cautiously optimistic about how the ending is gonna play out for sure.
bro. I if it doesn't end like that, I'm gonna come over here and complain because I loved it. So far, episode 8, Jules, a good one, really good,
I really do enjoy the whole like one of my favorite aspects of the show is when it feels like, you know, typically a show would go one direction, like with the whole, oh, I'm re-fighting, you know, the bad guy again. I've gotten stronger, like I'm gonna beat him, but it's just like, no, that's not how this works.
I
And
yeah.
it's like it's Hajime who is kind of beginning to ask the questions and who I feel like, you know, I do want the stakes to get to that point as you were describing before, but I also think that like Hajime is just going to make that one move with the one piece that keeps something in check with Berg at some point. Something's going to happen with that riddle, I'm telling you.
I love Hajime with the connections and all that stuff. I don't like her as a person. I like her in I like her in this anime. I don't know how to explain that. Like I'm just like I wouldn't want to hang out with her, but I'm like she's best girl, best girl. Love you, Hajime. Best girl, great. She's probably one of my favorite like characters like this. But I'm like I don't know if me personally can handle her, but um Smudge with the
Yes.
500 bits, 500 Corey bits. Thank you so
Ooh.
much to Smudge. I'd like to add Comey can't communicate. Oh, Netflix Futurama. Smudge, I've been thinking about picking up that manga actually. I've been thinking about that, but Comey can't communicate. I heard it's really good. Netflix QT romance slice of life. So yes, thank you so much for the 500 bits. And we're adding Comey can't communicate to possibly be pulled out for next week and going on. If it doesn't, it's going to be in the treasure chest of dreams. I'm just going to think of random names every single time I say it. The treasure chest of champions
The chest of many
here.
things.
But Hajime has really grown on me. I do like her. I like those little moments with the Tsutsu. The moments like I like what she does for other people. I don't know
Yes.
if I like her by herself. The way that she brings out the people and brings them together at her collage club. I like how she's has those little moments with the Tsutsu where it's like leaning on her and it's like oh like hug and being nice and stuff. Like I like her with other people. Um
I love the moment where it's after the where Hajime and Berg are kind of talking, going back and forth, and Hajime actually says for a moment, she's like, "Utsutsu, I'm not really sure, but like, I feel kind of sad." And like Utsutsu reaches out to her and like provides her comfort, and I was just like, "Oh, that's really nice."
this has been great. I really like this. I'm glad we're talking about it. This is really cool. Honestly, I'm having a lot of fun talking about this anime, especially with you talking with you, Matt, talking with everybody in the live chat on Twitch. You can watch these on Twitch, twitch.tv/JulesTheHuman on Thursdays at 11 a.m. Central. They're live, but if you're watching somewhere else, like on YouTube or Spotify or Apple Podcasts or something, the day after, that's okay too. But just know that you can come in and talk and chat with us and say hi. But next week is the last episode. We're going to be talking about Gatchaman Crowds and it's been a journey in 3 weeks, which is pretty cool. This is kind of the idea. We got through this one really quickly, and we're gonna get through another one really quickly and go through another one. So we're gonna be watching a lot of anime. So for me and Matt, it's gonna be super cool to get through a lot of anime, and we would love for you to watch along. So before next Thursday, watch episode 9 through 12 of Gatchaman Crowds, and we can finish this anime together. And you can be like, we did it together, and you can come by, hang, and talk with us. That's kind of the goal, for everybody to just watch anime together. And we've had people chatting in the live chat and stuff like that. So
Since we're coming up on our second viewing, finishing, we need to find a place where we just like list all the. Do we have a other than
we
our like
have
tier list? Do we have like
we
a
have the tier
list anywhere?
list.
Well, we can work on it, but just like thought, because it'd be nice to just have somewhere where it's just like
Like a my anime
this is
list.
everything. Yeah, like everything that
We can make a my anime list for the show
yeah,
of stuff that we've gone through.
there it
That could be
is.
cool.
Yeah.
But next week we're gonna go over what's in the treasure chest, what could be possibly put in. Me and Matt are gonna put in another one each, so that's building up pretty quickly.
I'm adding. Got
Comey can't communicate.
right there.
Oh, nice.
Boom, already done in the chest of opening.
Yeah.
Closing.
Oh, chest of opening and closing. But Matt, this has been a journey. Where can they find you on the internet before next week?
On the internet, I am on my socials at it's Matt_Galley. You can also find me on Twitch at Matt_Galley. And where can the peepo find you?
Jules the Human, JULAS the Human, on all social media, Twitter, Instagram. All the links to all of our stuff is going to be in the description of this show. We got another 500 bits at the end of the show. CZD, who actually suggested this anime, Gatchaman Crowds. He gave another 500 bits here. Thank you so much, CZ. 500 bits gets your anime added to the list. But CZ says, add Psycho-Pass to the bowl of ultimate anime recommendation. I think we should do that. I think every single time somebody mentions it, we should say a different name of it. Like, we should just make them some shit, and we know what we're talking about. But CZ, thank you so much for the 500 bits. Smudge, thank you for the 500 bits. Adding Psycho-Pass.
Thank y'all so much.
So now we have Comey Can't Communicate, and we have Psycho-Pass. I've heard of both of these, so I can confirm they are not hentai or anything. But Psycho-Pass being added to the culmination of fuck, I already fucked it up. Psycho-Pass. There we go. But yeah, come by live. People are chatting. Thanks for hanging out. Next week, the end of it feels weird. We're already done with it.
Fast.
It feels weird because we did a lot of episodes of Black Clover. We did the first 2 arcs, and this one just kind of ended, and I was like, oh well, this was a fun journey. Okay, we'll talk about it next week. We're gonna do our tier list. We're gonna rank it.
Oh, that's crazy. We're already listing it
Next week, and then we're gonna pick our next anime next week. So thank you so much for watching, and yeah, watch episode 9 through 12, the end of Gatchaman Crowds, and we'll see you next week.
until next time.
Bye.